So YouTube, an update from my previous video. I did not get the job. I kind of saw that I was not going to get the job, mainly for the reasons that I told you guys last time. Basically, anytime you're going for a job where you have so much experience in and you've had so many years in the industry, it's always that catch-22 where you're going for the position and the person who's interviewing you basically is, gonna say, hey, you're overqualified for this position. Can't say I didn't see it coming. And based on how their hiring process was and how that hiring manager was speaking to me, I could tell that that hiring manager was, one, not serious about hiring somebody urgently, and two, just wanted to hire somebody to fill in their off days. As of late, if you've been watching the media, the news and everything that's going on, you know that these tariffs and Trump and Elon is everywhere. It's all about, oh, the tariffs are ending the world, or the tariffs is going to cause a war. You know what? I'm actually glad. I'm not glad because prices are going to be higher, and I'm not glad because the economy is definitely going to get worse upon these new updates. But one thing I am so freaking glad about is the fact that all these people who are saying, oh, well, unemployment is stable and it could go up to 4.7% now that these tariffs are here. You know what? I hope they go to 6. I hope they go to freaking 6 so that people can understand that it is rough out here. It is so rough out here trying to get a job. Look, I'm denying Uber Eats because they're crappy orders, but it is so freaking hard out here to find work that I hope it goes to 6. And I'm not saying I want people to lose their jobs, but what I do want is I want corporate America to acknowledge what is happening. These jobs that you're seeing out here, this stable economy that you're seeing out here, next time you go to a Subway or you go to a McDonald's or to a Wawa, you're gonna see hiring signs everywhere. You wanna know why? Because that job doesn't pay shit. That job is basically a job for a job. When you get that job, you get to get another job to compensate for the lack of pay that you're receiving from that job. So in this case, you're talking about people who are underemployed, people who aren't getting enough hours. And even if you gave them 60, 80 hours a week, you're paying them so little that it doesn't even put a dent in their pockets. So I really hope that these new tariffs and all this stuff that's going on really brings light to the fact that there are a lot of people out there who are really having a hard time. And I just can't wait to see that. In fact, I wish it would happen yesterday, because as of late, everything's fine. Everybody's doing all right, and everybody can pay their bills. So it just makes no sense to me. So when people do all this fear mongering stuff about how the sky is falling now that tariffs are here, you know what? It makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense when Nancy Pelosi explains the same exact thing that Trump said when he said that other countries are getting over on us. For instance, if we want to sell something in China, China puts a 37% tax rate on it. Can you imagine getting a 37% tax rate on an iPhone? They're already pretty darn expensive. But can you imagine if you had to pay? Let me cancel this spam call. But can you imagine if you had to pay an extra 30%, an extra $300 for a $1,000 iPhone? I don't think anybody would want to do that. Whereas us, when they ship stuff here, we only put a 2% tax on it. And this is just one case, but China is, definitely one of our biggest trading partners. How can we really have free trade if we can't even negotiate a deal that is fair? If we can't even negotiate a deal that is fair for both Americans and our trading partners, how can we call it fair trade? This is what I mean by, sometimes you got to just put aside your party affiliation and what you're thinking and just think common sense. Just think common sense. Like, you're not going to trade anything with me that is of lesser value. Otherwise, it's a disadvantage. It's an arbitrage. So people, just please keep in mind that don't just go for the first thing that these people put out in these news headlines. Try to think for yourself, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, or independent. Just understand that the real color out here is green. And if your pockets ain't right, I don't want to hear about your dedication to XYZ politician and XYZ party. Because frankly, you look like an idiot. You look like an idiot praising any of these parties if your pockets ain't right. You want to know why? Because they should be serving the people. They should be serving you, their constituents. And if you're not well served, then I don't understand why you would even waste your time worrying about this crap. So basically, this is my part 2 on the whole hiring process and whatnot. It didn't go well. And that was after 4 interviews and something that I was a complete shoo-in for the deal. But for this particular instance, I did not get the job. And part of me is glad because the manager seemed like a real douchebag. If you're watching, I hope you heard me say that. You look like a real douchebag, not hiring me. But other than that, I'm just gonna keep on applying and just keep working hard and keep making these posts. And hopefully, they do go viral and I'll eventually be fully employed by YouTube. Other than that, this is TNN. Please like and subscribe. I see a lot of you guys are watching. There at least over 300 people that could be subscribing, but for whatever reason they just want to keep tuning in. I don't mind if you tune in. At least like, comment, engage, interact. Give me ideas of things you guys want to see. Other than that, this is TNN, the Noel Narrative. I'm out. Be easy.